Class, Mr. Goyette here again, going over Unit 4 with you, National University Students for Economics. We were just discussing injunctions, disposable income, liquidity, real investments, and infrastructure. I want to go over a few of those to clarify. There was one of the test questions I was looking at that seemed odd, and it proved to be very odd. It was wrong. And I did not write the exam, but I went in and I made that correction on the eCollege website. So when I was reading over those notes to you, I noticed that was an error, so I corrected that. So I want to go over that definition first and foremost. So let's do that. There was mention in there of using money to create new capital goods is called real investment. I explained diversification, and they had the right answer as diversification. Of course, I explained to you that diversification is when you spread your stock portfolio into a variety of stocks, so that if one part of the industry is failing at that time, or if there's a bear market for, say, oil, then you wouldn't be investing in that. But if you still have tech stocks and biomed and other things that are going well, then you're diversified well enough to where your overall stock portfolio won't fail or won't fall apart. Right now, the market is pretty bleak for most, if not all, industries. Healthcare being the possible exception, and a few others. Let's see here. So we wanted to look at injunction really quickly, go over the definition for that. And let's see here. So injunctions, here's an example. The police department also might ask the government to issue an injunction or court order to prohibit the dispatchers from striking. There are restrictions and injunctions, but the Taft-Hartley Act permits the issuing of an injunction when a strike threatens the health and safety of the public. So, for example, if I work in the police, if I'm in the police force, and my entire station decides to walk out, and they all strike, that neighborhood is left in a predicament there. So, or if we're talking about emergency room nurses, technicians, if they decide, oh, well, we're not getting paid well enough, we're just going to walk out of the emergency room. Well, if that means that people will be sitting on the gurneys without opportunities to have their life or their lives saved, then that's a problem for general public safety and health. So that's when a court will step in and issue an injunction. So that was part of the Taft-Hartley Act. A police dispatcher strike might pose just such a threat as police officers would not be informed of which crimes or disturbances required their attention. So if the dispatchers, the people that work the radios, to say, okay, on this corner in this part of town, go there. There's a domestic violence dispute, or there's a gang issue there. Or there's someone who needs your help. If they're not there to regulate those calls and prioritize those calls, then the cops are out there, the police are out there without any aid as to where they should be going. We need to talk a little bit about disposable income, infrastructure. Let me go back to infrastructure. We were talking about capital accumulation and venture capital. Venture capital, of course, being money invested in an entrepreneurial enterprise, is called venture capital, and encourages economic growth. Venture capital helps entrepreneurs develop an idea, a marketable product, to improve production facilities or finance product distribution. And a lot of times when companies or individuals have a great business idea, they might look for investors to provide that venture capital, that money they need to start the investment so they can do the research and development or get their supplies and their building and wherever they're going to start doing their work. They need to have that money up front to start the project without taking out this enormous loan that they can't pay right away. So venture capital allows them to do that. Infrastructure. Now, if the public sector, in the public sector, federal and state and local governments make real investments when they improve the nation's economic infrastructure. What is infrastructure? Well, transportation systems, including roads, bridges, harbors, and airports, and public facilities such as schools and universities. Now, doing this, creating these projects, whether it's the Army Corps of Engineers working in Katrina to improve the dam system, or engineering or city planning group working to improve the bridges in San Diego, or look at the water authority building more water towers or water reclamation centers to solve our water use issues locally, that's going to create jobs. That's going to allow us to hire people to work in this capacity. If there's no money in the budget to do this, sometimes we'll be looking for that venture capitalist, or in the case of the city or the federal government, they might be going to the taxpayers for that money. Let me give you that definition of real investment again, because it comes up on the test, and that was confusing earlier. When investors use money to create a new capital good, they practice real investment. Suppose that Johnny and Charlie decide to form an independent company. The new company clears the land and constructs the apartment complex. The Avelas now have created a new capital good, an apartment complex. The money spent on the complex now represents the real investment that was put into making those apartments. Such investments are not only made by individuals, but also by firms and by governments. That covers the bulk of what I wanted to review to clarify that last posting I made. Went over real investment. Let's go back to liquidity now and disposable income. Remember, I said liquidity was your ability to draw that money, how easily you can get to that money and move it around. Looking at, let me go back a bit here in the lecture. So there are two things I want to clarify. I think they go back into to chapter 7 with preferred stocks, dividends, common stock. Here we go. Lack of longevity. Okay. Maybe not. The disposable income part is, let's say you have a job and you are bringing home a certain amount of money for rent, or there's certain bills that you pay. Let's say you're living with your parents and you're paying your cell phone bill, or you moved out with some friends and you're paying your rent and your utilities, your trash, your necessary items like groceries. Your disposable income is what you have left over after you've bought those essentials, the things that you need, that you require. Now, some people like to lump in things that aren't required into that the non-disposable income section. Like they'll say, they'll include movies, or they'll include like special hair care products and things that really are more about, that are really kind of ancillary items, secondary items, into their core budget. Really what that should be is be left aside for your disposable budget. Only buy the things you essentially need, and then your disposable budget is what's left thereafter. I think that'll cover it for this quiz. Let's flip through, make sure I didn't miss anything. We'll go over corporate finance at a later time, and I'll also go into more depth at our next session into union organization, a little history on that. Get a little bit more in depth on what that's all about, because I know we've covered it in a very terse manner thus far. So I'll get back to you. Good luck on the quiz, or on the Unit 4 quiz. Get ready for your midterms. I will be posting information on the midterms very shortly in the next couple of evenings. And of course, I'll see you in class. Talk to you soon. Bye.